views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff and management of WWDB-TV.
Good morning, folks, and we're back with another great episode of Veterans in Politics. I'm Christina Ortiz, and this is Mantis Toboggan, and we are here with wonderful guests, Colette Morales and Lisa Rose Adams, who will be talking about the Las Vegas showword real estate, and former Assemblywoman and candidate for Las Vegas City Council, Victoria Seaman. Any rants today, Mantis?
Oh my God.
Yes, I've been waiting.
So many. Oh, this week has been. Why can't people stop?
I've asked myself this question numerous times.
I like the weeks that I don't actually have something to bitch about.
But I like the weeks when you have something to bitch about. So let's turn on.
There are too many things.
Can we talk about the transgender deal that just got signed into effect and how that's going to affect multiple soldiers? Because I honestly, truly don't care about what is below or above as long as you can do your mission.
Thank you. And shout out to Airman Julia Gray. You did your job, and we don't care what's in your pants.
Exactly.
Thank you for your service, and many others. So, yeah, this is disgraceful, honestly. If you can do it, you can do it, and I thank you. And that was one of the things that's been driving me crazy.
I figured I would start it out with that because I'm on the whole don't ask, don't tell. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care who you're sleeping with. It's none of my business. If you're not sleeping with me, I honestly don't care. And so,
yeah, I don't care to know who any of my friends or family are sleeping with.
Exactly.
It's completely irrelevant, and I don't care what's in your pants.
Not in particular. If it doesn't affect my body, it's none of my damn business.
If we're not sharing pants, I'm good.
Right? And I do care that you get the job done and that you do it with respect and grace and honor. And as a service member myself, I truly, if you have my front and my back,
I don't care what's on your front or your back.
Not in particular. It's a couple other things. Just, are we going to go back to the gun violence and the dress codes and where do we want to go?
Where I want to go right now is the shooting on the 9th.
Yes.
We don't know who it was, but in Virginia, we had a shooting at the VA. Somebody shot themselves in front of hundreds of people, and it was the third suicide in a VA hospital within a week.
So I'm questioning, and this brings up to my other point, and I was waiting.
We have an excellent VA hospital here.
We do, and I want to thank them.
I don't want to say anything bad about them.
Because
and suicides obviously are a lot more.
My question on that is, are the medication we are forcing down our soldiers and our airmen and our corpsmen and our seamen and every other service member, are they actually affecting, or are they the effect of the problem? I feel like they cause more problems than they actually cure. Because the more drugs they are, the more disillusioned with reality they are.
Well, this person was in a waiting room and just demanding care and not receiving it.
And that's another huge problem between the lack of care and the drugs that we just push down them. We don't actually counsel them. We don't actually have conversations with them. We throw drugs at them and we say, hey, I hope this works, and we use them as our own personal guinea pigs. And I believe that is one of the reasons that we have such a high suicide rate that we do in our VA.
Oh, absolutely. Our government likes using our military as guinea pigs. You're right. That is definitely a thing that happens.
This is not a hidden secret.
We have such a good VA here, and they're really good about counseling and everything. I know with my dad especially, but with several of my friends, they have gotten really good counseling here. But
it sucks that you can't say that everywhere, because I do want to thank the Nevada government and the local government, and a huge shout out to them, because our VA hospital is par none. I've had many surgeries, had to have things put back into place, and just the surgeons were right on top of it. They spoke in English. You always come in and there's always someone there. And so I do want to give a shout out because our VA hospital is par none. But I've been to other VA hospitals around the country, and I can understand that there is really long lines, and there are people out there who just don't care. It is just a paycheck.
And we need more focus on mental health in the VA facilities because it's a way bigger issue
Than
for
anybody
vets.
wants to talk about.
Well, amongst vets, it's a way more common and bigger issue than it is just in the general population.
It is. There's something to be said about sending 18-year-olds to war and then asking them to come back and be a normal human being. You can't. You're not. And people need to understand that. You are not the same person you came than when you left.
So yeah, in other news,
I know. I'm going to move on.
I mean, it's lighter, but it's still not light. I know I sent you the video of the school board meeting on Thursday.
Oh, absolutely. And that
It's
is
really tough to handle. Danielle Ford is in District F. She's
Yes.
in my district.
which is my district.
And-
We're in the same district.
Oh yeah,
I
we're
live
neighbors.
next to you.
We're
man.
neighbors. But yeah, Danielle Ford, I don't actually know where she was gonna be going with what she wanted to
But
say.
it should not have even come out of her mouth.
She referenced colored students. And
She
I
opened
don't know
that-
what she was planning to talk about in the first place, but
She opened a can of worms, and she set herself up for failure in that students are students are students, regardless of their gender, their color, their race, their ethnicity, and they all deserve the same education and to be treated as equals.
and also I mean that's not a term that has been okay
In a very long time.
ever in my lifetime or hers.
No.
I don't know where that came from.
And last I checked, she's about our age. She's not much older than me,
She's-
right?
Yeah. She's in her 30s.
Well, I'm gonna get there one
That
day.
was
I'm trying.
that's not something that's ever even been okay in my
right?
lifetime.
It turns out.
She probably should have just stopped with "I'm sorry" and "I grew up here."
Right, but that makes it sound even worse because I would like to say that I am a product of the Nevada
Oh,
education
you are,
system.
yeah.
And that is not representative of anything that we've been taught. And I had a great teachers and a great education, and to have someone like her come out with such ignorance and such disrespect to any student, regardless, is asinine and very inappropriate.
It's
and wrong.
it's hard to think about somebody serving on the school board who
Says words
has
like
been
that.
educated to say words like that.
Yes,
So
it's horrible. And, I love locals. I love local education. And I love that they're on the school board. But I would also hope that she would resign so that someone,
well, we need a lot more.
yeah.
We need to fix our school board and we need to fix our education system. And that's definitely not
The right
something-
direction.
Nope.
That's the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Sharp left turn over there.
So I don't know. I guess there's not really a whole lot to say about that because I don't know what to say about that. It's
It's not appropriate.
super not appropriate. But I guess we gotta get going to our guests.
Yes.
So.
So we're going to take our first commercial break and we'll be right back with Miss Victoria Seaman.
Folks, we're back. This is Steve Sanson, Christina Ortiz, and Mantis Toboggan Veterans in Politics. We have the lovely Victoria Seaman, who's a former Nevada State Assemblywoman, a candidate for U.S. Congress, and now a candidate for Las Vegas City Council. Welcome, Ms. Seaman.
Thank you so much for having me. I just came from walking the district, and I'm going back out, so this is why
All right.
I'm in this garb, and I just wanted to say that.
Okay, before we go into your bio, how many doors did you knock?
So far,
So far.
my team and I, or just me?
Just you.
Probably about 300 or 400.
Ah, that's pretty good. You
Yeah.
getting the good results?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Tell us about you.
Okay, so former businesswoman,
Okay.
decided to run for office when I saw that we didn't have enough representation of people who had signed the front of a paycheck. Served 2 years in the assembly, was a great experience, really learned about the issues of the community, and was able to go up to Carson City and pass some good legislation, squatter bill,
Okay.
guardianship reform.
Okay.
And the other thing that was really important was overreach of regulations in businesses.
Okay.
So what do you hope to accomplish
Well,
on city
let her
council?
finish her bio.
That's okay. That's okay. We did a lot of work for veterans,
Okay.
which is something I mentioned during our Veterans in Politics interview. And by the way, I'm very honored to have that endorsement.
Absolutely.
So thank you for that. And also the Nevada Veterans Alliance has also endorsed me.
Okay. When did they endorse? Did they endorse you for this?
Yes,
City council race? 'Cause
and-
I saw 2015 on your
No,
email blast that came out, so I was confused.
2015.
Yeah,
really?
it was like
Oh,
a
no,
little
no, no.
letter.
That was a certificate of the
Oh, okay.
work that we did in Carson City.
Back when you were assemblywoman.
Yeah, that had
Okay.
nothing to do with the alliance or anything. It just was a certificate given to us for doing an amazing amount of work for veterans. And
Okay.
it was most of us that were in the 2015 Legislative Assembly.
Okay, please continue.
Oh,
With your
no.
bio.
So I'm very honored about that endorsement. I come from a line of veterans. My husband, my father, and my grandfather.
What branch did your husband serve in, by the way?
Marine.
Was he a
He
Marine?
was a Marine.
He never once
No,
told me
wasn't
hoorah or
one-
simplify
Okay,
at
I'll
all.
say it for him. Hoorah.
He's
But hoorah.
he's not feeling the love down here.
Well, I got to say that once a Marine, always a Marine. Not
Absolutely.
was a Marine. I guess he still is a Marine.
He still is a Marine.
Yes, and my father was in the Navy, the ones that my husband would say,
Okay.
transported the
Exactly.
guys who
He
went
was the
to-
RTC, as we call him.
And my grandfather was in the National Guard, so none of them served in the
The
same.
what?
Yeah.
It's not even a branch. Let's be
Oh,
honest.
come on.
Was it Army National Guard?
Yes.
Okay. My son is in the National Guard. So
Oh, good.
I won't beat him
Yeah.
up too much.
Yeah. Don't beat up on them.
You're gonna beat Steve's son up?
I do on a normal day. This is
Oh, you can't beat my son up.
I think she probably could.
let's
So I'm just proud of all the work our veterans have done, and
Okay.
no matter what branch they're from.
Now, Miss Seaman. Now,
Yes.
why?
Mrs. Seaman.
Mrs. Seaman. You don't like the Miss, so people could guess if you're married or not. Why in the world would you want to run for city council?
I love it.
You were at the state legislature for what,
2 years.
2 years, and now you want to come into the local government, leave the state government to local government. Why?
Sure.
Why do you want to do
Sure. Well, first of all, I think you can get a lot more local stuff done, which is what I really loved about being in public service, being out there and finding out what the issues were. And it's a lot easier to work with, as 7 of us as opposed to 63 of us to get things done.
Right.
And I was able to do a lot of work. And the amazing thing is that I was a hands-on public servant where people called me, came to my home, because as you know, after we go up to Carson City, we come back home, and our offices are truly in our home. So I had a lot of folks that to this day still call me about local issues. And when I was in Carson City, I'd work with my city council people to get the local stuff done. But I just really loved it. And so I'm excited to be on the city council, and it's a full-time position too, where you can work all year round on those, all year.
It's still a
on the issues.
part-time paying job, right? They didn't move it to full-time yet.
It is full-time, the city council.
They moved it to full time?
It's full time, yeah.
All 7. I thought the mayor was the only one that went full time.
No, we'll be full time. So it's
So that means your money's gonna double. What is it? 70 now? Is it gonna go to 140?
no, it stays the same.
It stays the same.
Yeah.
Really?
But you might call it full part time because they're on the dais once a week.
Okay.
But you are working all week long with constituents. It's kind of what we did. See, this is the thing about the state legislature. We're a part-time position where people go right back to work when they come home. But I didn't, and I didn't know how people could, because I was constantly getting calls and people coming by to help with their issues.
Right.
So this is something that I think is just kind of something I'm already used to sitting on this legislature.
What are your goals and what do you hope to accomplish as a member of the city council?
First of all, Ward 2 feels that they haven't been fully represented.
And could you give us the boundary for Ward 2?
Oh, sure. It goes east to Buffalo. It goes west all the way to the end of Summerlin. And then it goes north right under Lake Mead.
So you have Red Rock.
No, actually you don't. But I'm talking about in this kind of like the northern Summerlin area. Okay. But it does go down to the lakes, and then kind of borders off with Red Rock Country Club in that area. But it's a great area. It just feels a little underrepresented because there's been some issues over the last few years, and people really want to see the whole ward concentrated on. We've had a lot of crime, right. And I think that's one of the main issues. When you walk and you go door to door, as many homes as my team and I have covered a lot of homes, even though I've only covered in the hundreds, but we've covered at least 5,000 homes. And you learn about the issues, and crime is a big issue. Education is a big issue in the district, but that's a state issue. But the nice thing is that as a councilwoman and being in the legislature, those relationships are really important, that I can work with those state legislators on some of the state issues.
So one of the big hoorahs in Ward 2 that your predecessor, Steve Soroka, was facing was the Badlands Golf Course. Mm-hmm. What's your interpretation on that whole deal?
Well, sadly, it's in the courts now, so it isn't with the city council anymore. Okay. My interpretation of what happened and what could have happened are two different things. What should have happened is everybody should have been brought together and really tried to work on the issue. Right. I know it's something where one side may have not been happy or the other side may not have been happy, but at least you could have found some a ground that they could have agreed on, and that didn't happen. I believe that Soroka, really kind of took the side of we're not going to develop and just kind of threw ordinances out there, and so it ended up in the courts, and it shouldn't have. Right. I mean, we should have been able to bring everybody together, developer or a rep for the developer, and the constituents in Queensridge, and really tried to find some common ground and tried to solve the issue. Now it's in the courts. It's not with the city council anymore. And that's unfortunate as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, so they try to spearhead a recall against Soroka, and apparently he recalled himself.
He resigned.
Basically, he recalled himself and he resigned. How are you going to bring back the confidence in the Ward 2 constituents? Because I thought Bob Beers did an outstanding job. Now Bob Beers don't live in that district anymore.
No.
What are you going to do to bring back the confidence in Ward 2 because of what Soroka did and how he left the city council?
Well, first of all, I think, like you said, Councilman Beers was a hands-on guy. That's what I want to be, same as Stavros Anthony. I have to say, Councilman Anthony, anytime as a state rep, when I had concerns about the local issues in his ward, because it overlapped both Bob Beers and Stavros Anthony, they worked with me and we got things done. I mean, I would call their office, get in touch with them. That's what I want to do. I want to be that person that people can call, and no matter how small the issue, their garbage, whatever it is, and be that person that can help them. And that's how you bring the confidence back. It's by representing all of the ward, right. Not just taking on one issue and ignoring the rest of the ward. We have to concentrate on the entire ward, and that includes Queensridge. And I hope that the Queensridge folks will have confidence that I will work with them in their issues and at least hear them. Be someone who will listen to their concerns. Even if I don't agree with them or I don't agree with anybody all the time, that I will listen to them.
I want to ask you something that's been bothering me for probably about a year now.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, it's right.
All right, let's hear it.
All right, so we're
You
ready.
were running for United States Congress, and
Oh, I knew it was.
Oh, God damn
I
it.
love that you were running for United States Congress.
Everybody did. Everyone
Everybody
was super excited
loved
about
that you were running for United States Congress, Victoria Seaman, and you bowed out of that race because of Danny Tarkanian that
correct.
jumped into the race after you've been there 12 months running for United States Congress. Why did you bow out? I mean, I would have just stayed in there. That's just me. But why did you decide to bow? Because there was a lot of people that was really, really looking for you to be the next United States Congresswoman, and you had a hell of a lot of support.
Yeah.
I mean, the president told Danny Tarkanian to come out of the Senate race. He didn't tell him to go into your race.
Right, that's correct. That is correct. You made a very good point.
He didn't tell him to go in your race. He didn't go in Victoria Seaman's race for Congress. He didn't say that. He just said come out the hella race.
I understand. Well, there's a lot of things that you have to look at. I appreciate the question, and I appreciate your support.
And as a friend, I want to add, as a friend, and if I was Danny Tarkanian, I wouldn't have done that to you. I would have just said, I would just put my full support behind you, because that's the person I'll be, and hope that you win the race. I wouldn't go in there and oust you out like he did. That's just my opinion, and that pisses me off. Not that what you did
Let her answer
is
it.
what he did. What he did to you
Yeah.
pissed me off.
Yes, let her answer it because I'm dying to know the answer.
And I like the Me Too movement, by the way. Go ahead, Mrs. Seaman.
I really appreciate that. I appreciate the support. I appreciate that people were behind me. There were a lot of things that were taken into consideration of withdrawing from that race. First and foremost, we were friends, and the one thing that happens in races, as you know, is a lot of attacks happen. We'd gone to the same church. Our children knew each other. Our families knew each other, and then you also have to look at, besides trying to destroy each other in a race, Danny walked into the race with over $700,000. And he had what he called the president's endorsement. And the war between us wasn't worth the friendship and everything else to me.
So you were the bigger person, basically.
Absolutely, but at the same time, you've won races before where Danny is a
Oh, for
professional
nothing.
choke artist.
Let me
Oh,
just
for
explain though. You have to win a primary in order to win a general.
Yeah.
Keep that in the back.
And I think you could have.
Well,
but
you know, again,
I respect
again,
that
it-
you
it-
didn't make
Right.
this an issue, and I think it was super classy to bow
And
out,
I'm not the only one
honestly.
this has
Like,
been bothering. I mean, a lot of people that was fully supportive
d-
of you.
people
was
didn't like
bothered
it,
by
but it was classy.
No,
and
I-
As you
respect
could see,
it.
he didn't win.
Right, I understand that, but let me put something in your head very clear. It takes money to win a race.
True.
It takes, you have to be able to attack your opponent. This is someone I've been friends with for many years. I'm not saying what happened was right or wrong or
And
in
as a
between.
friend, he shouldn't have did what he did to you.
But I'm just telling you, as the person that was sitting in the position, talking to my team, talking to different people, I felt at that moment that I could take a step back and raise money and help other people rather than attack somebody I've been friends
Right.
with. And I didn't have the kind of money that Danny had raised running for Senate against Heller. And you have to win a primary in order to win a general. So think about that for a minute. Of course, I probably had a better chance to win the general, but I didn't have any control of somebody coming into my race. And so I decided rather than fight a friend, I would just take that time and raise money for other people. And looking,
And I wish he took that approach too. I wish he would have took
but
that same
looking
approach
back
you just
today,
took.
I feel this is where I need to be in city council. If I were in Congress today, with a divided Congress, I don't think I would be able to get anything done. And so looking at it today where I'm sitting, I think this is where I'm meant to be, because I can do a lot on the city council with 7 people compared to a divided Congress. And I really think I'd like to spend my time getting things done.
Right.
So I have a question, like as far as moving to municipal, like, do you think that like municipal law enforcement should be enforcing federal laws? Do you think that that is constitutional?
We are supposed to enforce federal laws, you know, federal trumps state or municipal.
So if we passed, like, say we passed a ban on assault weapons or something federally, do you think that our LEOs here should?
It also must be constitutional. If it's not constitutional.
But if it were just say it passed somehow, would you want like local LEOs here to enforce that? Or?
I believe that all laws must pertain to the Constitution. And so that is something that, depending on what the law is, I would really have to look at. I mean, we must first have laws. I mean, there has been things that people were trying to pass in the state legislation, and we were told it's not constitutional. So I think our Constitution is the guidelines for what laws we should and shouldn't pass.
So you're in a special election.
Yes.
You had no primary. There was 9 of you. Now there's 8 because one withdrew.
Who withdrew?
David Ostro.
Oh.
I forget how to pronounce his last name.
Oh, he did?
David
Okay.
O. Let's call him David O.
Okay, so you're way ahead of me
So
in
David
this.
O.
I'm thinking
it's
he's
my
still
job.
in there.
It's my job. Mr. Seaman,
Mrs. Seaman's been busy out in the field.
it's my job to know this. So,
Right,
so
absolutely. I
David,
did not know that he had withdrew, but okay,
well,
interesting.
he told me he withdrew, and now there's 8 of you. So all 8 of you is going to go to the general election in June.
Right, that's correct, because
Okay.
there was no primary.
Now, with the 8, how are you standing out above the fray?
First of all, I've been very involved with the community. It's part of my old
And you have.
It's part of my old assembly district, so a lot of folks know me. And 2, I've been an advocate out there against some of the stuff that was happening with ordinances that were just being thrown because of the whole Badlands thing. People actually came out and called me about what was going on, and we're not feeling represented. So I've been active in the community months before people jumped into the race. So I believe that
You've been active in the community years before.
Oh yeah,
people
I know,
jumped
but
into
you
the
know what
race,
I'm saying.
Miss
As
Seaman.
far as city council Ward 2, and a lot of folks have, aren't out there. They're just not out there. We've been out now for 3 months in the field, and we just don't see anybody else really working in the field. Not that they're not going to.
And I just want to add that I hate to interrupt you because you're doing an excellent job. I just wanted to add that when you stepped out of the congressional race, you developed a PAC.
Yes,
and you were
I did.
helping other candidates
Yes,
with their
absolutely.
race. And that's very admirable for
Thank
you to
you.
do that as well.
Can I
Thank
ask,
you.
And what was the name of that PAC again?
Battleborn Conservative
Does it
Women.
still exist?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yeah.
can we
Thank
ask, are you ever going to run for Congress again? Will this be something in your future? Because I would like to personally say that I think you would make an excellent congresswoman, and I've known you as my assemblywoman because I
See all the hearts you've broken.
Still
Miss-
working,
Miss
live
Seaman?
in my district.
my parents do.
Have them get out in the municipal,
I will.
because a lot of folks don't go out. We get like what 6 or 8%. So
Right.
please let them know. First of all, I just
we
want
don't
to
get to vote.
I
thank you
know.
for the confidence. I really appreciate that. And I am taking one step at a time with what I'm doing. Right now my concentration is really to be a city councilwoman and work hard for those constituents that live. They're my neighbors. They live in close to me, and that's kind of where I want to be right now. I don't know what's in the future for me, but right now I'm excited about being a city councilwoman. But thank you. I really appreciate that.
I'm happy to.
We don't get represented.
I never do. We're neighbors with each other.
Well, where do you guys live?
Southern Highlands.
Yeah.
So you're in the county.
We're somewhere.
Yeah.
We're in the middle of the desert.
But yes,
I mean,
we don't get.
I live in Ward 6, but I have friends everywhere.
Okay, good, good.
So-
Well, spread the word.
We
Spread
keep
the
spreading
word.
the word.
We
You
don't
know,
live in Las Vegas.
The sad thing
We
is
just
that
live
people just
somewhere.
don't vote in the
And
municipal
your race is
races.
the only one for them to vote for because the mayor's
Mayor
race is
won,
over.
right?
Yeah.
So they got to get out of their house
Right.
and go to a voting booth just to vote for you. Now, with that said, Mrs. Seaman, I would like for you to look at the camera and tell people why, in God's name, they should leave their Netflix.
In June.
They should leave their video games. They should leave their kitchen. They should leave their bedroom and
that's
go
just a
out, go in their
stretch.
car, start their gas, or bicycle their
Get
way.
the air on by June 11th.
Bicycle
yeah.
their way to the nearest voting
That's
booth
right.
and go and cast their ballot for Victoria Seaman. Why should they do that? And your point of contact, please.
Okay. Thank you, first of all, for having me here. I really appreciate it. I believe that you should get in your car and go vote because you need representation. And I will be your voice on the city council. I will be the person you can call no matter how small you might think the problem is. But there's always a solution. I'm never going to say to you, we can't do that. I'm always going to say, what's the problem? And let's find a solution. So you can call me on my cell. It's always been available since I've ran for assembly. 702-466-0407. You can go onto my website, which is simply my name, victoriaseaman.com. My email is victoria@victoriaseaman.com. I get things done. I'm a problem solver, and I appreciate if you will get out. I know it's a little warm during that time, but early voting starts May 25th to June 7th, and election day is June 11th, and you come out and you vote Victoria Seaman for City Council Ward 2. Thank you so much.
Well, Ms. Seaman, thank you so much for coming on the program. Folks,
And Steve wanted me to ask you what your astrological sign is.
What?
What's your zodiac sign? Steve,
Libra.
Okay, there
See,
you go.
there
Now
we-
you know.
Now you know.
folks, I just, could I speak?
No.
Folks, I just want to,
Nope.
La-
It's
la-
the ladies' show today.
last week, last week, Veterans in Politics had a special election endorsement interview just for City Council Ward 2. I just wish Soroka would have made that announcement while we were doing the municipal election for all the candidates that were involved.
Sorry.
Instead of doing a special one for you. And it was an independent panel that voted unanimously for Victoria Seaman to be seated as the next City Council for Ward 2. I've known this woman for
Quite a few years.
quite a few years now, and what she said is true. She's very hardworking. She takes the bull by the horn. She's not scared to get in front of whatever the project is. She's not afraid, and she'll do a great service for Ward Number 2 and Las Vegas City Council as a whole. So it would be the benefit as a Las Vegas community to have this woman sit in as a city council for Ward Number 2, and just want to remind you that her vote will affect the entire city as a whole. So if you know anybody that lives in Ward 2, or you have a friend, you have a family member, whatever, please make sure you call them up and have them go to the voting booth and vote for Victoria Seaman as the next city council member for Ward Number 2. And if you need to know anything about Victoria Seaman, she left her cell number, call her personally, but get people out and vote for her. This is Steve Sanson, Jim Jonas is not here today. Steve
Jim,
Sanson,
you look gorgeous today.
Christina Ortiz, and Mantis Toboggan, Veterans in Politics, and Victoria Seaman is endorsed by Veterans in Politics, and we love this woman, so please vote for her. Don't go away, folks. We're going to be right back with Lisa Adams and Colette Morales with, I forget the name of that real estate company.
But you nailed the first part.
What's the name of that real estate company?
Sherwood Real Estate.
Sherwood Real Estate. And they're going to be talking about a special program for veterans. We'll be right back.
Sorry.
We get yelled at too.
Hi.
Real Water's a
Hello.
sponsor.
Hi. Hi.
Hi.
How high?
Hi.
Very.
We wish.
Folks, we're back. This is Steve Sanson, Christina Ortiz, Amantis Tobago, and with veterans in politics. You could call this show the Me Too movement because I'm surrounded by a bunch
But
of
not
beautiful
you two.
ladies. We
Just
have
us.
we have Ashley Riccio, and we have Lisa Adams, and we have Colette Morales with the Las Vegas Sherwood Real Estate, and they're going to be discussing Community Heroes of Las Vegas program. Ladies, how you doing today?
Great.
First, Ashley, tell us about you.
I thought we were here to promote
Tell us
community
about
heroes.
you, Ashley. Tell us, people. Hey, you know something. If I'm going to get with a real estate person, I want to know a little bit about them. You know what I mean? I want to know what their
Are you all
favorite
from
color.
I know
I'm-
my realtor's address, and I kind of like stalk her. So I mean, we
Hey,
got-
don't tell people your address.
But are you all from here?
Yeah.
Originally from Minnesota.
My realtor bakes for me. Okay.
I do that too, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I moved here in 2011. Or no, I'm sorry. I moved here in 2007.
Okay.
And I have two children and a husband, and I've been in real estate for 6 years.
Okay. Lisa.
I moved here in '96 and started selling real estate in 2007, and have 4 children, and I'm going to be a grandmother in October.
Congratulations.
What generation is that? X or something? Okay. Colette.
And
Why
I'm,
not, Steve?
I'm originally from California. I came here via Germany after I got out of the Air Force.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you for your
And I got here in 2008 and have been in the business now for 6 years as well.
Okay. Well, tell us about this
Program.
program.
Well,
We're super excited.
My,
about
my
it.
phone cut off.
Yeah, we launched it last year.
Well, wait. The program is called the Community Heroes of Las Vegas.
Yes.
All right. What's that about?
Well, we launched it last year, and it's a program that gives back to. It started with just originally with the military, but we wanted to reach out and make it available to anybody in the community that
Why?
gives back, whether it's like first
Why?
responders.
The
Well,
military.
to say thank you.
The military just
Yeah.
want the program for themselves. They don't want you like to span it out to anybody else.
Sorry,
They
Steve
don't feel
doesn't like
bad.
first responders.
I don't
First
feel special
responders.
anymore.
Police,
No, it's not for
teachers,
everybody.
firefighters. Yeah, so there's a really large list of folks that we are trying to make it available to.
And what does this program do? Because I'm excited to hear about it. And my second career is I'm in school now to become a paramedic.
Awesome. Okay, so most folks know about like USAA's relocation program, where you can get the rebate when you use one of their preferred realtors. We all used to be at a company that was partnered with USAA to provide those military members that rebate on relocation when they purchased a home. So the rebate's a set amount based off of your pay grade and the purchase price. And what we wanted to do was really give a lot more than what that program does, because it has a huge umbrella. They have to pay employees, the whole nine. So the member here typically only gets about $1,300 in a rebate. So we wanted to be able to provide a lot more than that. So we give 25% of whatever the paid commission is back to the member at closing for closing costs. So it's a really fantastic program.
Does
They
that
don't-
cut into your pay?
Absolutely, it does. But the other programs did as well. But now this way we have control of giving all of the money straight
Directly
to the
to the
member
member.
versus it getting divvied out to the larger company that's overseeing the process.
And so probably doesn't hit your pay grade as the other program, because if it's just you three, then you get what you need to
Exactly.
survive. But then I can see the program and have a
So
success.
the higher the cost of the home, the more. So
Yes.
so if the,
So
if
if
the house
you go-
costs 500,000, right?
You're getting 25% of the paid
And
commission.
I'm like, hell no, I ain't paying 500,000 for that house. I want to go 450. You're gonna be like, oh my God, Steve, don't go 500,000 because you'll mess up the commission. Is that how it works?
Well, the commission is always the listing agent will set the co-op, and the seller and the listing agent really decide on that. So it can be anywhere from 2% all the way up to 3% is the average in that range. And so whatever is being paid out, whether it's a $200,000 house, a $500,000 house, 25% of that goes straight towards your closing
But
costs.
you'd fight for me, right? If I wanted to lower the house.
Obviously.
Lower
Oh,
the price,
absolutely.
you'd fight,
That's their
right?
job.
Absolutely, that's
You
the
come
point.
first. The
Yeah,
client
but
always
you
comes
you
first.
always get an appraisal done,
Right.
so you always have that protection.
Okay.
You're never going to pay more for a house, especially when you're doing a VA loan.
Okay.
VA really looks out.
So Lisa, what once you walk us through the whole process, I show up, I knock on your door, I want to buy a house.
I think she would just ask you to leave.
But here's a catch. I want to sell my house first because I want some money
Right.
You don't want to
to
sell your
use.
house.
I
You
know
want to
this.
come
I
from.
know this
To
is where
live.
we're at right now with you and your situation. So what we're going to do first is we need to make sure that you're pre-qualified and know what type of
As a
payments
veteran.
yes.
Okay.
Know what type of payment you can afford and what's going to be realistic to be looking at, so that your expectations are set
Okay.
before we even go and look at houses. If you did need to sell your house prior to being able to buy a house, there's some timing involved, and it's not hard to do it. It happens. There's a lot of lease backs that happen right now where someone will sell their home, but they'll lease it back from the buyer for a month or up to 2 months. I think you can do maybe 3 months before you're in trouble with the buyer's lender.
VA 60 days.
60 days. Okay, so 60 days you'd have to find another home and be able to close on that, so that you're not having to move twice. That's what we
Right, or
don't
being
want
some
to have
kind
to
of
do.
budget suites down in by
Exactly.
Harmon
Exactly.
and get robbed.
Right.
And with military members, of course, we deal with a lot of that relocation where they're coming in from out of state, and we've all had to help make sure that process is as seamless as possible. And quite often handing them the keys when they get here and everything's already done. I actually have a client driving in today from Oklahoma, bought the house sight unseen, used the Community Heroes program, so they got the 25% in closing costs, which ended up being about, I don't know, $6,500 in closing costs, which
Do they take them put towards their house?
and they
or
put it
in
towards their
pocket?
closing costs.
Okay.
So yes, that helps what they have to come out, especially with VA. You get zero down with a VA loan, but you still have those closing costs, and so that helps cover that. And so they're going to show up today, and they're going to get their keys tonight to the house that they closed on 2 weeks ago.
How
So
does
it's-
it work sight unseen? And do you have to do a video tour, or how does that work?
That's what I've done.
Yeah.
I do virtual tours with the client. We set an appointment as if they're physically here. Go to the house, and I'm virtually walking through it, opening the cabinets, so that they can ask
Showing the
any
neighborhood,
questions.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've been
And then I
relocated.
did the neighborhood too. You
Yeah.
want to know where they're moving, where the schools are, and shopping. And
So actually, if you're dealing with veterans and first responders, because they're both, those two personalities are all on edge. How do you handle different personalities that walk through your door? And whether they want it now, they don't want that granite top
we
kitchen
ask you
top.
to leave, Steve.
They don't want those stainless steel appliances. They want it now, and they don't want to fix their house up that they're moving from. You know, you tell them, well,
Sure.
fix the crack, they don't want to fix none of that. They don't want to put no more money in that house. They just want to leave, but they want a nice house. And how do you handle those different personalities,
Well, so
especially the aggressive personalities?
right. I kind of consider myself maybe a chameleon. I will, depending upon what the client needs and their personality, if they're analytical and they want numbers, I make sure they have all the numbers, make sure they have all the information to make the best decision for themselves. As far as aggressive people, I think that just always being honest and truthright with somebody and patient you know, we get the job done.
Steve, I found your new realtor.
I have a realtor already. Could you guess who my realtor is?
Probably the same as mine.
No, it's not.
She bakes.
You use Lena, right?
I
Yeah.
use Lena.
Okay. So
Mine's prettier.
really?
Lena? Yeah.
Lena's a doll, but there's several dolls in the world. She's not the only one with the doll movement. Right, Lisa?
Exactly.
Right, Lisa?
Thank you.
So Colette,
Crystal.
could you because I'm because you're a veteran, that's why I'm going right to you, because this is a veteran question. Could you tell the veterans exactly what they get when they buy a house and when they sell their house?
With our program or just in general?
With the program.
With the
With the
program.
program.
With the program
Okay.
and in general.
So a VA member, if they are eligible, that's the first thing, is that they have to make sure that they're eligible. The lender will pull their VA eligibility.
Okay.
And if they've got a disability, that also will help in closing costs. They
Well,
will
how does disability help?
So if you have a 10% or greater disability, the VA funding fee will be waived. And what that is the guarantee that the VA is giving for backing that loan. Because
So there's no PMI insurance.
no, that
Okay.
basically is the PMI, but it's getting wrapped into the loan.
Okay.
That's how they do that. But if you have a disability that's 10% or more, it's waived altogether.
Okay.
And then so then with the program, they get the 25% towards closing costs if they're purchasing. If they're listing, it's a 0.5 point off the listing cost.
How much is that in dollars?
It
Depends on the
ranges.
house.
Yeah, it
Okay.
could be, so anywhere from, I think the last Community Heroes one I did was they maybe had about 4,000, and then this one is closer to 7,000. So it really just depends on their purchase price. And then they don't have to put any money down unless it's required.
So they don't
because they're
pay closing
purchasing.
costs?
They do pay closing costs, but it's a lot smaller.
How do you get the buyer or the lend or the seller to pay the closing costs?
So that we are actually luckily in that market again. Last summer, that was not an option for buyers, but now buyers are in a position because homes are sitting on the market longer and there's a lot more competition for sellers
Good to
sell
know.
their home. Buyers are in a position to ask for closing costs, and you'll see 1% or 2%. They'll ask for a flat rate of $1,000 to $3,000.
Okay.
Is about average. Wouldn't you guys say?
Definitely.
Okay.
And then there's also other things that military members, and it's really important to have a realtor that knows VA loans and what the availability is for them, because there's things even after, such as property taxes that can be reduced based on your disability. So there's a lot of little things that go into the process that can save a military member a lot of money. But you have to have a realtor that knows what they're doing.
Lisa, anything you want to add to this Community Heroes program?
We just have some lenders that are partnering up with us as well, that are offering some discount points towards
Incentives.
So
incentives as well.
you hook up the client with the lenders?
buyer
With the
with the
lender.
lender. Yeah.
Okay.
So
We've got
then that
several of
adds
them.
towards the closing costs as well.
Does the Community for Heroes program extend to new builds, or is it pre-build?
Yes.
And how does that
Yep.
work?
Like the
Yeah,
same way.
Okay.
With the new construction, oftentimes the builder will offer incentives if you use like their in-house lender or the in-house title company, those types of things. But it doesn't change what we give back to
And
the
there
client.
is a limit that we're allowed to give with lending guidelines. And so if we've maxed that limit with what the builder's giving in incentives plus what we're giving in incentives, there's other things that can be done, like paying HOA dues a year out in advance.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a
Okay.
lot of ways we can kind of work around so you still get all that money even if you go with a new home.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Wow.
And one of the other benefits too is that because the credit is being given in escrow, it's not considered as income. It doesn't count as your income, and you don't have to pay taxes on it.
Which is the way the USAA program works as a rebate. You get it 30 3 days after, and it's a 1099. Now you have to pay taxes on it.
Oh, right. Oh, that's
So,
even better. Okay.
yeah.
So I know all three of you are with the same real estate company, right?
Right.
But I'm gonna individualize you. So Ashley, you go first. You tell people why they should go to you to help, so you can help them.
Trying to pit them against
To help
each
them
other.
with this community heroes of
Games
Las
moment
Vegas
over
program.
here.
Well,
Why
one
they
of-
should call you up and your point of contact. Look at the camera.
So truth for Steve and everybody out there. Honestly, when you hire me or any of these, you actually really get all of us. We are at a smaller boutique brokerage, and we are very much a team. So if I'm ever not available, I have teammates or the broker. We really take our jobs very seriously, but we also have fun at the same time. And we'd love to work with you.
Definitely.
Lisa?
Just exactly what Ashley said. But you can.
So what we will do is
Yeah.
say that if you want to find out more information, you can go to www.homeforsaleinvegas.com, and there is a Community Heroes tab in the menu bar. So it's www.homeforsaleinvegas.com, and there it explains all of it, and then you can put in a request, and we will be contacted.
So did we cover everything? Did you guys leave out anything? Okay.
Thank you
Good.
very much
Thank
for
you.
having
Yeah,
us.
thank you so much.
Well,
having
thank
us.
you guys for coming on the program. Folks, that's Ashley Rowe.
Riccio.
Riccio. Ashley Riccio. Look. Ashley Riccio was not on my agenda, so that's why I screwed up her
forced
name.
me.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's in my defense. And we got Lisa Adams and Colette Morales with Las Vegas Sherwood Real Estate Company, and they're
Good. Thank you.
yeah okay, and they're talking about community heroes. So that includes veterans and first responders. Great program. Go to the website, find out what you can, give them a call, because like Ashley says, when you call them up, you don't get one.
You get 'em all.
You get all three. This is Steve Sanson, Mantis Toboggan, Christina Ortiz.
Gross.
We're veterans in politics. Until next week.
fine,
We'll be
stay
back.
on.